Ladies and gentlemen, my name is GicaForta and I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Eve Echoes? To start off properly and understand what we are reviewing right here, we have to get familiar with Eve in general. Eve Online, or the concept of Eve as a spaceship MMORPG, was developed by CCP Games, which is an Icelandic company, back in 2003. At this point in time, the true birth of massive multiplayer online games was about to begin. Funny enough, Eve predates World of Warcraft, which officially launched in 2004, while other MMOs and ensuing MMORPGs were based on a shard concept, multiple servers, instance-based. The guys over at CCP thought, oh hey, why not have everyone playing on the same server? Oh dear, kind sir, but is this even possible? Yes, it is, and they've been proving it since 2003. The game featured a great amalgam of elements unique to the MMORPG kind, and it built a respectable and stable player base since its launch. See, in the world of Eve, one does not simply need to hack and slash forest porcupines to level up. There is no level up. All you have is skills that affect stats, and skills can be trained from a book. Online or offline, doesn't matter, they train nonetheless. This allows players to focus on other things, like life. Players have over 5,000 solar systems to explore and inhabit, again, all in one servers. Players explore, wage wars, there's big wars like 3,000 versus 3,000 or even more. The game even has its own bloody economy. Because of all of the data and numbers, the game has oftentimes been dubbed as the Excel game. Can't say they're wrong. I mean, due to its complex nature and elaborate mechanics, the game has been plagued ever since by a harsh and steep learning curve. This game is not for the faint of heart. Nothing horror by all means, but it does prove to be a challenge for your average Joe player. It might be very appealing at first, but once you start diving deep, a question should pop up as to, do you want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes? It's been 18 years now since Eve went live. The player base matured, some even became grandparents. One of the issues people are confronted with day by day is time. Yeah, jobs, kids, daily stuff. As we grow older, stuff gets complicated, we all know that. But as we grew older, mobile phones got smarter too. So here we are, CCP franchised the thing, and NetEase Games picked up the mantle of porting, quote-unquote, Eve to mobile. Porting is an incorrect term here. You can't port a PC-exclusive MMO. We can call it a spin-off title, because it is what it is. NetEase has been showing up all over the place recently. They're good for them, honestly, but business-wise, they are a leading mobile game dev/publisher. You'll also find them on several other grand titles, as main developers, such as teaming up with Blizzard recently for Diablo Immortal. So here we are, talking about Eve Echoes. Why Echoes? Well, mostly because it's not Eve Online, which is a PC title, that's pretty obvious. Echoes because it's an echo of the main thing, hence why spin-off is a more appropriate term. Initially, it was designed and promoted as a casual version of Eve, a game that you could play on your way to work, on the subway, or on the loo. But later on, things began shifting. The player base currently is split in two. We've got the casual and the hardcore. Both sides have some of the Eve Online veterans that wanted a fresh new start, or were very happy to play something that demanded less time, the main issue of life currently. Although Eve Echoes went through one expansion already, or a major update, whatever you want to call it, the login screen is pretty much the same since launch, actually not launch, since beta. It's got the same music. Song, by the way, is the Eve Online Retribution login theme. Throughout playing, you can hear some of the original themes of Eve Online, though not all of them. Perhaps an issue with licensing, I don't know. Eve Online had a multitude of different awesome songs for roaming, some also triggered by combat engagements. Here there's just a couple of them playing in high sec, and one for each of, like say, combat, low sec, and null sec. Very bland, boring, and repetitive. It can easily cause you to fall asleep. Since it's a mobile game, you tend to play it before bed while, you know, sitting horizontal. Don't do that. Aside from getting blown up, there's also the risk of nose trauma. I don't think our faces were designed to receive free-falling phones right in the button. Let's talk about the in-game menus. Well done, well structured, the majority of menus at least. There are some areas that have weird feeling and probably low user experience, but hey, nothing is perfect. Also the ability to set some favorites as shortcuts. That's some bit of excellent quality of life and customization. Let's zap over to game settings. We've got the basic settings. You can control the sound volume of each channel, which is good. Also a tick to shut off the game audio, which is especially useful if you're sitting on a Discord voice channel with your friends playing together. I think the ability to disable the opening cinematic every time the game would launch, it was getting very annoying. So this was added recently. A good set of controls over notifications, different types of events. We've got like skill training complete or autopilot, destination reached. This is all good stuff. Switch over to battle settings. We've got several stuff here that for a casual player running PvE content, if you don't know what PvE is, player versus environment, can make life easier, such as auto-orbit or auto-targeting, and of course auto-shoot back. For active players though, engaged in PvP, and PvP is player versus player, or let's say more advanced stuff like specialized content like in PvE, all these options come with the recommendation, at least in my opinion, of being turned off, else they can really mess you up on manual flight, or can even get you killed. Switching over to video options, there's plenty of them, considering it's a mobile game. Holy crap, we have 4 quality presets, plus an additional custom mode where you can basically pick whatever you like. Change the screen resolution, or let's say change the levels for materials rendering. This could be the mesh effects, or I don't know, post-processing, high precision, model range, could be draw distance, again, confusing. Volumetric fog is a beauty. But please keep in mind, it does put a strain on the ARM processor. Bear in mind, this game works on low-end devices just as good as high-end devices, with some nice tweaking in the video options menu. But beware of battery drain. It used to drain a lot more. It receives some optimizations, and if you're not running on a high-end device, you might experience a cooking effect. If you're not careful, you can literally cook eggs on your phone. You even get a warning if you switch to ultra high. And by the way, I'm running a game on an iPhone 12 Pro Max, and honestly, the A14 Bionic chip does a fine job and pretty much holds out fairly well in regards to the heating problems. Done with the options, let's talk a bit about the game itself and the sandbox it offers. As previously stated, it's a spaceship game, so everything revolves around you flying various ships and, I don't know, fitting them with various modules to tackle PvE or PvP content for all its intents and purposes. Or even space trucking. It's a thing in this game. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. There's ship classes and strategies, and I don't know, that you can employ to fly whatever you want in whatever manner you like. And right off the bat, you notice the theme of asymmetrical combat. Without question, the stats and skills play a role, but oftentimes it's how you pilot your vessel which brings you victory or death. And you can even come out on top in dire situations like, let's say, David versus Goliath. He is fighting with a frigate versus a cruiser or a battleship, or one man versus a small gang of players. The gameplay is, in my honest opinion, very strategic and very unique to other MMOs. And aside from the combat system, the whole game pretty much embraces the idea of Sandbox, where everyone's choice can have an impact to the grand scheme of things. Echoes offers a multitude of things to do. We might call them professions, let's say. They're not professions because there's not something like we can really pick up in the game like a specific class of doing stuff like in World of Warcraft or Lineage or whatever other MMO you can think of. These professions are pretty much on paper. We've got like a trader, you can be a hauler, yeah, you can do space trucking as I mentioned, you can be a miner, you can be a builder, you can even do research and development. Hell, you can even be a pirate, PvE runner, PvP pilot. Not only you can do all of these by yourself, but also within groups of players. Sort of like guilds, but not guilds, these are called corporations, and the corporations can sit up inside bigger structures they're called alliances. Let's take an example of what you can do. If you toy around on the market, you can affect prices for other people. Even you can go so deep and do market manipulation of various items like ore, minerals, or ships, or anything that's tradable. Hell, you can even live off by being a scammer. Scamming in-game is within the confines of the universe, so it's not something against the rules. By flying around, you can reach various corners of these 5,000 plus star systems. The core of the star cluster is mostly NPC owned or called high-sec, while on the outskirts you have no man's land, or people call them the null security space, where the actual players set the rules. Yep, you heard me right. Pilots can also claim space of their own, protect it, wage war, and clash amongst themselves. They can even play the spy game and steal everything from someone given they gain enough trust and access to corporation or alliance assets. It's all a big sandbox. A sandbox where everyone can bring their toys to have fun or leave the playground crying back to mummy. And yes, from this very perspective of, quote, you can be anything you want to be, unquote, Eve is harsh. Add the learning curve on top of that, and you have a very weird social game of space death Monopoly. But is Eve Echoes good? Although Echoes is similar to the main game in nature, it's somewhat different. A market behaves differently, skill tree and ship's tech trees are different. New features, seen as new features, they're not new. Not sure what the issue was, but the argument here was that some game mechanics were too complicated for mobile applicability. I would argue that is not true, and considering Eve has 18 years of development, sometimes reinventing the wheel is not the best idea. So I can't say for certain why some things were changed. Change doesn't mean good every time, especially since the original was and still is successful. Indeed, it gives a fresh approach and could say perspective. However, some of the new designs or redesigns have been known causing a multitude of problems, ultimately leading to an improper balance of the entire game. To elaborate on the designer's argument that it needed simplification, the ship trees and specialized content, as in becoming, let's say, a healer or a support using specialized ships, no longer have skill specialization requirements as in EVE Online. Instead, they added, I shit you not, they added a mobile-friendly tier system progression. Yeah, this one was introduced. While in some games this may work, especially on mobile games, in EVE this is a no-no, as it propagates a general imbalance created by this verticality. Therefore, as you progress higher and higher, the lower tier ships become redundant, and any new content being added just gets better stats, which pretty much ruins all the fun. Specialized and asymmetrical combat, or at least asymmetrical gameplay, don't go well with vertical tier levels, which just give out better content. It's like eating tomatoes with ice cream and having a beer on top. That's a nasty combination to go head to head. A combination your bowels might consider explosive as being a mild term. These should be addressed, but given the fact that this is already the scaffold that the design team is using for delivering new content, it's pretty hard to change now, and the player base is left to deal with the blunt feeling of frustration. Another big issue is the mixed signals we get from the studio. They say they listen to the player base in terms of feedback. However, a recent balance update left everyone scratching their heads. And not only did they deliver a weird update, but upon the studio asking for feedback and people actually telling them and giving back feedback that this is bad, 90% of the changes stuck and it went live. The argument was this is to prepare the future content. True. True, but the players don't live in the future, they live now and play now, in the present. Preparing something for future updates, one must also take into consideration the current status of things. For all that's holy, I'll refrain from further comments on that. Could make a whole video on these and... oh, I already did a few of them. Such ahead of my time. So to draw up some conclusions, is Eve Echoes worth trying? Yes, in fact, I actually encourage you to pick it up. It's free to play. You can also go premium for just $15 a month. Can also go premium via in-game currency if you farm and grind a lot. Can I guarantee you'll like it? No, I cannot. Eve is a special game, intricate, interesting, and intimate. The 3 eyes has a lot of depth, and you can find yourself stuck to your phone for hours on out. But wait, wasn't this a casual spin-off? It was initially. Still is if you just play by yourself or with 2 or 3 friends having a blast doing all sorts of PvE and PvP. But for the big alliances and sovereignty claims where clashes of 1,000 players occur on a weekly basis, that's not casual anymore. It all depends on your playstyle and general approach towards MMO games. This MMO, however, is like none other. On PC or on mobile, main title or spin-off, it's a sandbox. Explore, be amazed, or uninstall and move on to more casual-oriented but fake MMOs out there. Why I chose to do this? TotalBiscuit was kind of why I even got into YouTubing. Now, I was lazy. I kept following and watching others do it. TotalBiscuit helped me develop my eye for criticism. He had a keen eye for that, that's for certain. I pretty much loved his game reviews, and back when I was playing PC games, actually helped me save plenty of money. He had this amazing quote that we do not pre-order. TotalBiscuit was the influencer of influencers. I mean, by no means he wasn't perfect. He had his flaws. We all have such things. Watching him throughout the years got me the courage needed to start on my own. And honestly, my channel was born just a few days after he passed away. Somehow I felt a bit dumb for not starting earlier, but it's a bit hard. I don't know how to say, but as all things in life, we all need our catalyst. This channel was supposed to be an homage to him. Hell, I'm Romanian. Fără mișto, chiar sunt român. I adopted the British accent to have something to remember him by. It just felt right for me. This doesn't mean I was good at it.
I've been using my Prophecy Battle Mage deck to climb on ladder. As you can see, this deck has proven itself and has done quite a bit of damage to people. I've been trying to grind.
I sucked. Big time. But I didn't give up. I had this ideal burning at the back of my mind. I pushed through. And here I am after 3 years. 3 years later, remembering TotalBiscuit. And how better to rekindle his memory by doing a video in his style. My name has been GicaForta. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, by all means, do feel free to click the like button. If not, the dislike button is right over there. I'll see you next time. Cheers.